All right, we are now live. The preview. Welcome, everybody. You're about to watch an amazing video that was produced by the Paul Robeson House Museum in 2019. Call it like a prequel to tonight's events or this evening's events, or wherever you are in the world. We don't know.
The town I live in, the street, the house, the room, the pavement of the city, or a garden all in bloom, the church, the school, the clubhouse, the million lights I see, but especially the people, that's the true America.
What I really love about the Paul Robeson House is there's a certain casualness that is connected just to the neighborhood. We're in West Philly, the Walnut Hill neighborhood. It's a residential block. If you come to the Paul Robeson House, you'll probably hear, music and people walking by from outside the windows. So it feels very much like a home. And connecting that with Paul Robeson's global legacy really makes this place stand out.
Paul Robeson was a gifted man, scholar, lawyer, star on the football field, the movie screen, and the stage. His work was so powerful that it moved people all over the world. He used his art to transcend both race and borders. He was an activist who spoke out against racism in this country and colonialism and oppression abroad.
I would say the Africans and the American Negroes have turned out to be an extraordinarily gifted people. The great tragedy is that by not making us full-class citizens as yet in America, they may be losing, I don't know how much yet.
After speaking favorably about the Soviet Union, he was persecuted by the U.S. government. The State Department revoked his and his wife Islanda's passports. The House Un-American Activities Committee called them in to confirm or deny that they were communists. Both refused to answer.
Scandalize my name.
Why do you not stay in Russia?
Because my father was a slave, and my people died to build this country. And I'm going to stay here and have a part of it just like you, and no fascist-minded people will drive me from it.
His music was removed from stores. His work as an actor, as a singer, was basically blacklisted.
Whenever he was at home, he stayed in the house. He was great to go. And that's where he was hiding it in Mother and Daddy's. Couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Unless they could find a way to sneak him out.
After Islanda died in 1965, Robeson sought comfort in the home of his big sister, Marion Forsythe, in West Philadelphia.
Aunt Marion was a former school teacher, a very quiet woman, but an individual who was just devoted to her brother and saw to it that people did not just come to see him on an ongoing basis.
I lived around the corner from here. When I would pass by and say, "Good evening," she would say, "Good evening," and he would just nod his head. One day, I came by, and he was not on the porch with her. And she said, "Paul's not feeling well today. I didn't bring him out. Would you like to go up and see him?" Oh, yes. Oh, my, yes, yes, yes. And going up the steps, I may have hit about 2 or 3 of them because I was whoop, whoop, whoop. I was leaping like a kangaroo. And I got up to the room. This giant of a man was lying in the bed. And she said, "Paul, this is the young lady that used to come by and she would speak to us on the porch." And she said, "She's from Laura, Mississippi." And he said, "Leontine Price." And I'm saying, wow, he remembered that? That was the most glorious moment in my life.
Paul Robeson continued to vocalize. He continued to visit members of the family and friends that he had in the area, such as Charlotte Bell, my mother Elizabeth Michael, and others in the community. So he enjoyed his days that he was here in the house.
Paul Robeson died on January 23, 1976, after living with his sister for nearly 10 years.
What he wanted to level with our great Frederick Douglass, Harry Tubman, W. Du Bois. To me, he was an international role model. He encompassed everything that a person could be.
Paul Robeson did inspire me a lot because my mom always told me to achieve bigger things. And like, when I think about that, I'm like, I can't do all that. So, but reading about him and learning about him made me think, I can do all that. Like, I'm gonna try to do all that as I grow and become older.
Robeson's impact was also felt by a librarian and aspiring artist named Frances Austin. She formed the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance in 1984 to highlight the arts.
She was just one of these people that had a reach that was so vast. I felt we were really fortunate to connect with her because she had no reason to trust us at all. Well, the history of Penn in West Philadelphia is not a great history. There was the assumption, I think, on the part of many people that West Philadelphia is broken, and so one of the two things I told her was, A, if we screw up, we will be accountable for it. And the second thing is, we don't assume that West Philadelphia is broken.
I've had students learn by working here and by doing research and helping things get going in the early days of the Robeson House. So they benefited intellectually and personally and in civic ways and developed a sense of democratic citizenship for working here.
It was not above her to call and say, I need you there. I need you to come to this affair. I need you to support me in this way or another way. And who's going to tell Fran Austin no?
In the early 1990s, Austin learned that Marion Forsythe's house was for sale.
We had no money to buy a house, but we never let that stop us, right? And so we discovered there were some organizations that did have money, and they were interested in purchasing the house. It was meant to be that we did get the home because Paul Robeson's philosophy is to use the arts as a tool for social change. It dovetailed with our philosophy.
For the next 20 years, she put her heart and soul into the house. Fran Austin died in 2015. She had set the Paul Robeson House on its course, creating a legacy not only for him, but for herself.
I enjoy doing events here with the children and helping to educate them, both on Paul Robeson, his background, but also his values. And he also enjoyed playing chess, so I think it's fitting that we sometimes come here and use this space also.
Paul Robeson was one of my heroes. So for me to have the opportunity to be involved here was very important for me. And then to have an impact on children through Paul Robeson, I couldn't ask for anything better. Yeah.
This is history that should be preserved and should be passed on to the younger people.
The only thing I can say is keep agitating his name, promote his name, his legacy, and that also Fran Austin. Don't forget her.
So welcome, everyone. I am Janice Sykes-Ross, and I am so elated today. I've been watching Robeson celebrations all day long, and we declared this Paul Robeson Day. Right here, April the 9th, we are declaring this. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for using your Saturday afternoon to help us celebrate this Renaissance man and to really lift him up and honor him. One of my favorite quotes that Robeson has is, "Artists are the gatekeepers of truth. We are civilization's radical voice." And I think that really personifies who we are here at West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance and the Paul Robeson House and Museum. WPCA has 3 areas of concentration. We are a community engagement. We are an arts, cultural, and programming center. And of course, we manage the Paul Robeson House and Museum. One of our programs that we are most proud of is Arts in the Parlor. And of course, not only is this a celebration of Robeson's birthday, but this is one of our major fundraisers. So throughout the program, I have the pleasure of asking you to donate, and I'm going to continue to ask you to do that because we're fortunate that our doors are open, but so many small nonprofits like us have not recovered from the pandemic. And it's only because of you and all of you and your supporters and the generosity of all of you and our volunteers that we are able to have our doors open. So for that, we salute you as well. Arts in the Parlor is one of the programs that we're asking you to donate toward that lets us highlight local artists, and we can put on programming throughout the fall and the summer and the fall, and we don't have to charge for these types of programs. We also are going to be asking for your donations for the Paul Robeson Chess Club. The Chess Club is one of our partners. And if you've never heard of the Paul Robeson Chess Club, it is an amazing group of young people run by Al Mekki, and he's been doing it for a long, long time. And these young people have won championships from not only from the US, but from all over the world. And some of their trophies and everything, when you come to the museum, you'll see that we house their trophy. So they consider our house their home, and we consider partners with them. So as you go and donate, you'll see a line item that says the Paul Robeson Chess Club. Please give to these young people. They're going to be traveling at the end of the month for an all-girls chess event. So we want to support that. And then finally, I want to just highlight our wonderful board. I love my board. They are really hardworking individuals that continue to support me, continue to support this organization. Some of the members of the board have been with us from the beginning. They were with Mama Fran, or Fran Austin, and we call her Mama Fran. They were with Vinoka when she was the former executive director. So I'm just going to quickly run through their names. If you're here joining us, and I know that you are, I'm going to say I see you and thank you. Thank you to my board. So Ira Harkavy, Vinoka Michael, Clayton Salter, Dr. Crescent Molly Mason, James Karacha, Margaret Livingston, Riley Jones, and our board consultant, Maud Lyon. So having said all of that, I'm going to now turn it over to none other than Miss Vinoka Michael.
Thank you very much, Janice. I just want to talk about Uncle Paul for a minute. I remember 2 events in particular that I wanted to bring to your attention. Mercy Douglas was the hospital which his uncle founded. And I remember walking into Mercy Douglas one day with Uncle Paul. I thought he was there to visit a friend of ours that was sick. But as soon as we got through the door, Uncle Paul started to hum, which I thought was strange. But as we walked, he continued to hum. And once we went through the next door, Uncle Paul broke out in song. And he was singing one of the old spirituals. And as he finished, he had everybody clapping for him. Of course, that was a number of years ago and everybody knew who he was. But this is the kind of thing that he would do sometimes. The other thing that I thought about as I was thinking about his birthday today, I was a student on Penn's campus, and often Uncle Paul and I went down to the campus just to walk the campus and give him some exercise. And this particular day, we were at 34th and Walnut. And that was significant to me because Uncle Paul would always like to see where I went to class. I think about now that we have Simone Lee's brick house right there at 34th Street. And I was down there the other day and I said, you know, Uncle Paul would have died to be here looking at that particular statue. So when you think about Uncle Paul, he was a man of the world, but he was also a man of Philadelphia. And of course, we want to celebrate him here in Philadelphia. Thank you. Welcome to all, and continue to remember Uncle Paul as one of the world leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanoka, for sharing those intimate just highlights with us. She's one of the few people that had the pleasure of calling Paul Robeson Uncle Paul. So for today, Vanoka, is it okay if we call him Uncle Paul? So we're gonna celebrate our Uncle Paul today. It is now my pleasure to introduce, he's not only our board member, but he is our MC for today. And his name is Riley Jones IV, but we call him RJ4. And he calls himself RJ4, so we're gonna refer to him as RJ4. RJ4 is a native Chicagoan. Riley Jones is an attorney, an entrepreneur. Let me say this about Riley before I go into his bio. As I think about people that have been impressed by Robeson and really tried to model their lives after him, Riley, to me, as you hear his bio, you will see that this young man is doing that, and he's doing that in a very quiet fashion. So he, as I said, is from Chicago. He is an attorney. He is an entrepreneur. He is the co-founder of the Sector Software, an organization using technology to create and facilitate opportunity pathways for new economy. This work garnered him recognition in the Forbes magazine as one of the top 30 under 30 social entrepreneurs. Riley works with a variety of organizations through advertising ways to improve their social impact and strategies, especially within our communities. He talks about education, entrepreneurship, and social justice. Riley also went to the University of Pennsylvania. He went to the New York Law School and graduated with honors. He's a member of Phi Beta Kappa. And Riley is a notable entrepreneur, as we said. And guess what? He sings, and I believe he acts too, like Robeson. So without further ado, and hopefully he'll give us a little tune today, I give you RJ4.
Thank you for that more than generous introduction, Janice. Nice to meet everybody. I am hyped to be your MC for this afternoon. To give you just a quick background as to how I got here. How did I get to the Robeson House? When I was in high school, I had the opportunity, someone sent me a song, and I heard this booming bass voice go, "There's an old man called Mississippi. That's the old man I don't like to be." And I was mesmerized. As I started to go through his music, started to learn about his history, started to learn about the impact that he had on the world, but even more than that, started to understand his philosophy of life, reading Here I Stand, reading his biographies. Paul Robeson was someone who inspired me to really want to change the world, to as an artist, to be the change that I wanted to see. We also share a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and so there's many things that about Paul Robeson's mission that spoke to me. And so at the outset of last year, I said to myself, I really want to do something Paul Robeson related. And so I gave a call to the Robeson House, and Miss Vernoka answered the phone. And we had I think about a 2-hour long conversation. I said, I just want to help. And so since then, I've been fortunate to work with both Miss Vernoka and Janice and many other folks on the board, and even invite folks like Ajay to come and join and work with the house. And I'm happy also to be on the development committee, which means that it is my job to make sure that we keep asking you all for your support, so that we can support the operations of the house. And so with that, we've seen in the chat already that there's opportunities to do that. You can see that in the chat. And if you can't, I will make sure to share it again. There we go. Thanks so much. So just to give you a bit of perspective as to what you can expect today, we've got some performances, we've got some speeches, we've got some videos for you to watch. But our first performances will come from Theater in the X, which was created in 2013. One of the founders is here today, and then the next one will come from Key Arts Production, and Key Arts Production will be presenting a musical tribute to Paul Robeson, who, again, as we know, was a Renaissance man. And the producer of Key Arts is Joe Patterson. He'll tell you more about his tribute. But last but not least, we'll also share some special videos from the Paul Robeson High School, which is really exciting. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first guest from Theater in the X, Walter DeShields. You got the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's really a pleasure to see you all here, us gathered to honor Uncle Paul. Certainly one of my own personal heroes. You'll hear that reflected today from the other folks here from Theater in the X. So let me tell you who Theater in the X is, if you don't know. And if you do, I'll just remind you, and I will kind of introduce the other folks that are here from Theater in the X, but they'll introduce themselves more later in the pieces that they're working on. So Theater in the X was founded in 2013. I'm not reading this. I'm going to just say it right off the top of my brain. 2013 by Carlo Campbell, who's in the room. I'll introduce more in a second. Lanish Miller-White and myself. So we've been operating for about 8 years with about 7 production years. And our primary showcase is in the summer at Malcolm X Park, not far from the Robeson House, over at 52nd and Larchwood and Pine. We've done several productions. Some summers we do 2 or 3, others we do 1 or 2. Last summer we did a piece that we devised with Dwayne Alistair Thomas called West Philly Meeting. We've done The Wiz, we've done Othello. This summer we're doing Dreamgirls in the Park, quick plug, and that'll be later in August. But we usually do our big show in the summertime in the park, in Malcolm X Park, and it's totally free. But it was founded so that audiences of color, particularly Black audiences in West Philly, could have accessibility to theater in ways that the more institutionalized theaters don't offer, breaking down the cost of the barrier of cost and location and travel and all of those things. And not only for the audience, but for our artists as well, our actors, our designers, our directors, so on and so forth. So at this moment, Lanish Miller-White serves as executive director, and myself and Carlo Campbell serve as co-artistic directors. Our very next production is about to occur. It is Richard III by William Shakespeare, and that will be at the Curio Theater Space at 48th in Baltimore later this month in early May. You can check out all the details at theaterinthex.com. So that's enough about who Theater in the X is. Today we honor Paul Robeson, and so we're going to do that with 4 speeches, one by myself, one by company member Eric Carter later on, and 2 other by co-founder and co-artistic director Carlo Campbell. They'll tell you more about their pieces when they come up on the program. So I'm going to read a piece from that is right now in Paul Robeson Speaks, the book Paul Robeson Speaks, and this is an interview entitled Paul Robeson Told Me. It was by Julia Dorn from the Theater Arts Committee, and this was given in the summer of 1939. I want to oftentimes make sure that we understand the context of when some words were delivered to us. So I'm gonna go right into that. And then Riley will come back and move the program along. So these are Paul Robeson's words that he gave himself. When I sang my American folk melodies in Budapest, Prague, Tiflis, Moscow, Oslo, the Hebrides, or on the Spanish front, the people understood and wept or rejoiced with the spirit of the songs. I found that where forces have been the same, whether people weave, build, pick cotton, or dig in the mines, they understand each other in the common language of work, suffering, and protest. The songs were composed by men trying to make work easier, trying to find a way out. Many of the old folk songs, which are still young today, echoed the terrific desire to escape bondage, such as the Negro protest song, "How long must my people weep and mourn?" In Germany today, when the opposed commit suicide, the oppressed commit suicide or try to escape unbearable conditions, their actions cry out against the terrorized land they wish to leave. Our Moses, with its "let my people go," never meant going to heaven. The direction was really the north. Sojourner Truth, a Negro woman rebel who worked with John Brown in the liberation movement in the 19th century, used to sing this song as she passed through the woods to a Negro settlement. And when the Negroes heard it, they knew it was a signal for a meeting. When I sing "Let My People Go," I can feel sympathetic vibrations from my audience, whatever its nationality. It is no longer just a Negro song. It is a symbol of those seeking freedom from the dungeons of fascism in Europe today. The same is true for the refugees with "Sometime I Feel Like a Motherless Child, a Long Way from Home. Come, my brother." I mean, the songs of people, of farmers, workers, miners, road diggers, chain gang laborers that come from direct contact with their work, whatever it is. This folk music is as much a creation of a mass of people as language. Both are derived from social groups, which had to communicate with each other and within each other. One person throws in a phrase, then another. And when, as a singer, I walk from among the people onto the platform to sing back to the people the songs they themselves have created, I can feel a great unity, not only as a person, but as an artist who is one with his audience. Thank you.
That was outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing that. So again, we will now hand it to Joe from Key Arts Production.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joe Patterson with Key Arts Productions. I'm excited about being a part of this celebration of Paul Robeson, his 124th birthday. I'm honored that Janice called me and to invite me to be a part of this. A little bit about Key Arts Productions. Key Arts Productions is an innovative multimedia performance theater company who have performed for audience the world over. The ensemble uses a signature blend of a thoughtful narrative, integrated video projection, and musical performance. And we try to balance entertainment with education. We travel across the country with programs on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and civil rights and African-American heritage and culture, using, again, multimedia, video projection screens, and musical performance. So today's we have a few musical performances by our cast member, Nathan Harmon and Andre Miller. And as the gentleman before me mentioned, Motherless Child, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. You know, Paul Robeson sang and recorded many Negro spirituals, and he worked with Lawrence Brown, who was his accompanist. And he learned and studied a lot about the African-American and the American Negro songs. So our first performance is Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, which he recorded. You can find a recording of this on Columbia Records, 1958. It was released, a record disc called 78 Tours on Columbia Records. And again, we'll do a few other Negro spirituals. He had a rich deep voice, and his command of this style of music is impeccable. So we hope you enjoy our rendition. And again, we had a chance to perform these musical pieces, right there at the Paul Robeson House. It was incredible to feel his energy as we were performing and recording these songs. So we hope you enjoy our rendition. Thank you.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home, a long way from home. True believer, a long way from home, a long way from home.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Joseph. That was amazing. So next, we will have a video from the Paul Robeson High School. As you can tell, the Paul Robeson High School bears the name of Mr. Robeson and carries on his legacy in the West Philadelphia community. The principal of Paul Robeson High School, Principal Gordon, was honored as the nation's best principal by the National Association of Secondary Principals in 2020. We partner with this high school for various activities throughout the year. We will show a video from Paul Robeson High School.
My name is Ali, and I attend Paul Robeson High School. Attending Paul Robeson High School makes me realize how strong of an individual Paul Robeson was. He fought for so many people in this world, even though with all the races going on during this time, he kept going to what he wanted to do with the U.S. government trying to stop him. He just kept working and working and working. Even to the day he died, he just kept working. Attending Paul Robeson High School makes me realize that if he could be strong, I could be strong too.
I'm Jamaja and this is Jaden.
We're both ninth graders at the high school of Paul Robeson, and learning about Paul Robeson was a fun adventure because Paul Robeson was a great influence. He would travel the world, talk about racism, and talk about why it was wrong, even though at the time Jim Crow was going on and he was getting death threats from other people and was risking his life at the same time.
Also, he fought poverty because he believed that no one should be poor. And going to a school named after Paul Robeson feels very good because it's like I'm honored to go here because he fought for Black people to have certain things, and this certain thing is this. Going to this school is an honor.
Hello, my name is Nedra. I'm from the 9th grade at Paul Robeson High School. We recently discovered how Paul Robeson life has impacted us. How? Because he actually not fought for his rights, but fought for everyone else's rights. And we recently discovered how he actually been a leader, not a follower. He never let anyone tell him what or what could he not do. And it impacted me because he's not making just the world right, he's making a better place and people futures. Rest in power, Paul Robeson. We love you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So as you can tell at the WPCA with Paul Robeson House, We care a lot about education of our young people. It is what Paul and Eslanda stood for. And so that is something that we take quite seriously here at Paul Robeson House, education. So with that, we will offer up the stage again to Theater in the X, and then to Key Arts Production, and then we'll go to intermission.
Hi, my name is Eric Carter. I'm one of the company members to the West Philadelphia community. And that statement sticks out to me. And that's why I'm also a member of Theater in X, because I come from, not West Philly, but North Philly. And bottom line is all the same everywhere. And growing up, I didn't have access to the arts, to theater, to dance, to music like that, where I can go in and discover this talent. Just so happens, good old mother, the mothers knows best. She gave me a choice to either go to Performing Arts High School or Roman Catholic High School. And me being an 8th grader, I didn't want to go to an all-boys Catholic school. So I decided to go to Performing Arts and go for theater. And voila, 20 years later, I'm still in it. But going through that, one of my main teachers in there, a man named Mel Williams, and was a Black man who was really one of the smartest people I know in the world. But he was so into this art of theater. And I have never been around somebody that was into this art of theater, right? Especially a Black man. And going through that school, by him being my teacher, he introduced me to different Black artists coming up, Sidney Poitier, and of course, Paul Robeson. And one thing that stuck out to me about Uncle Paul is that he was able to reach Broadway and do Othello with Uta Hagen in 1943. That by itself, to reach that height, is just simply amazing. So if he can do it in 1943, why can't I do it? When I graduated back in 1997, and those type of things just stick out to me. And that's, like I said, that's why I'm a part of Theater in the X, to bring, professional theater to people of color in West Philly. So to celebrate that, I do want to do a small speech from Paul Robeson, and I hope you enjoy it. I feel closer to my country than ever. There's no longer a feeling of lonesome isolation. Instead, peace. I return without fearing prejudice that once bothered me. It does not hurt or anger me now, for I know that people practice cruel bigotry in their ignorance, not maliciously. A little incident that occurred almost the first day of my return will show you what I mean about having changed inside. I was invited to a tea in one of the city's leading hotels. When I approached the front elevator, I was told to use the freight elevator, the whites employees' idea of the Negro's way to heaven. Several years back, I would have smarted at that insult and carried that hurt for a long time. I was just amused and explained to the elevator I didn't belong with the freight, that as I was the guest of honor at the tea, my host might be surprised to see me arrive with the supplies. The elevator man caught that idea very quickly. His colleagues would too, if they were taught all the facts. They will know someday. In the meantime, I know. Thank you.
Outstanding. And so now we will go to Key Arts.
Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder, soldiers of the cross.
All right, folks. So, two things. Before we go to our intermission, I've gotten an update. We are at $3,250 in our fundraising. Let's clap it up for that. But we still are short from our $7,000 goal. So if you have it in you, we would love to have your support, and we are very grateful and honored to do so. So with that, just to turn the spotlight a bit from us to you, we hope that you really enjoyed the first half of our program, but it's about that time. We're going to take a 15-minute intermission. But before we go, we want to place a spotlight on you. We want to ask you all to turn your cameras on for a group photo. And then we'll make some shout outs and sing happy birthday. But I'll turn it over to our executive director, Janice Sykes-Rocks, to explain what we'll do next.
All right. I see a few cameras are on, everyone out there. We want to do a group shot. So if we were in person, we would all gather around and do this group shot. So I'm going to ask everybody to tighten up on the screen, turn your cameras on, gather around. I don't know what's going on with my video, keeps going in and out. But you know, this is how Zoom works sometimes. So we're going to keep moving, and then we're going to do a group shot of the screen. All right, so here we go. And we're all going to say, happy birthday, Uncle Paul. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Uncle Paul.
Awesome.
All right, we've got our shot. So why are we taking our little intermission here?
So,
I want to take.
I think we'll be moving to our intermission. So we'll take between 10-15-minute intermission and I'm back in a bit.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Thank you, Riley. All right, while we're going into our intermission, I want to take this opportunity to talk about our fundraiser, because that's my job, is to talk about our fundraiser. I don't know what's going on with my video. Sorry, y'all. I apologize. Today is our fundraiser. We are halfway there. We're asking that you please continue to give. The fundraiser will be going on until the end of the month. We're going to be celebrating our Aaron, our Renaissance man, all month long. We also have a big banner up. If you go by the house, there's a banner there and it says happy birthday. If you're driving by, honk your horn. If you come over to the house, we have a birthday card and we ask that you please sign the card. We want to get 124 signatures on our card. So we also want to take just a few minutes to recognize that there might be some people here from other countries, because we do have an alliance with other countries. So if you're tuning in from London, Australia, any other countries, just put your name in the chat. We want to know that you are here. I'm going to introduce Sophia Wesler, who is handling our Robeson Alliance. And Sophia is an intern at the house, and she's going to tell you all about the Alliance. And if we have Alliance members on with us, this is our shout out. We're going to do a few shout outs.
Hi, everyone. I'm looking through to see if we have any Alliance members. This is a very big day for other Robeson entities, given that it is Robeson's 124th birthday. But the Robeson Alliance was created to join together other Robeson entities and organizations in one mission to preserve the Robeson legacy. And this has been an incredible resource for the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance and the Paul Robeson House, as well as our other affiliate organizations who are doing their own respective programming today. We are very, very thankful to have connected these entities together. there's just a wealth of information about Robeson that can be gained from this opportunity. So thank you for tuning in today.
I think we have Denise from Princeton. If you're on, Denise, we'll give you the opportunity. We're shouting you out. And we had Joyce Mosley, who might be on as well. It's part of our alliance. We'll give you the opportunity to shout out Joyce as well. Okay, if not, then we are now going to thank you so much, Sophia, and thank you for highlighting our alliance. Next year, we will be coming together with the alliance, and all of us will be doing a joint program. So you're going to hear more about this later on in the program, but we will start to talk about this, our program for next year, our 125th. So make sure you start to mark that on your calendar. Again, thank you, Sophia, for all your work with the Alliance. I'm now going to introduce Azare Gary, who is the Executive Assistant with the Paul Robeson House. And Azare will be giving away some t-shirts today. So we're going to turn it over to you, Azare.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Happy birthday, Uncle Paul. So everyone, look at your email registration when you signed up for the event. Each registration had a number associated with your ticket. I'm going to be announcing the last four digits of those ticket numbers. So if you got your email registration up, look at those last four digits of your ticket. I'm mixing up some numbers here. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get this beautiful, amazing Paul Robeson shirt. I think it's his performance for Emperor Jones. And then you're going to get an amazing mask. Let's see if I can get this. That says Robeson. Robeson. Oh, I'm cutting out. There you go. So in case anyone forgets how to say Robeson, it's 2 syllables. It's pretty amazing. All right, so let's see who our t-shirt and mask giveaways are. So look at your tickets. If your ticket ends with the last four digits of 0459, 0459, 0459, you can put your name in the chat. And I'm gonna type them in the chat too, just in case some people are on here who might miss it. 0459. 0459. Okay, our next winner is going to be 0049. 0049. Okay, I think I might do, how many more do we want? Do we want to do one more or two more? Any 2 more? Okay, let's do 2 more. Let's see. If your ticket number ends in 2019, 2019. All right. And we have one more winner. Anybody want to do a drum roll? All right, so our last giveaway is going to be ticket number 3519. 3519. Anybody on our call? Is anyone a winner? Anyone want to claim their prize? Okay, guess not. Well, hopefully we'll hear from you all and send us an email, follow up with us, and we can email those folks additionally. And I'm going to pass it back over to Janice.
All right, so congratulations to all our winners. Azare, I know all of you want to sport these t-shirts. We're all sporting those today. Chris can't spotlight all of us, and again, my video, but we're all wearing these wonderful t-shirts. And whenever I wear them, people say, is it a comic strip? They don't know what this t-shirt is. So now it is time to sing our happy birthday. And I'm gonna ask that Vanoka come and join me and all the staff and volunteers. We have our cupcakes. And we're gonna sing happy birthday. We want all of you to join in.
We have that
Are we
recording.
ready?
It should be
I know, I can't fix technology. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, let's do it.
It is.
Let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Uncle Paul.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay.
Anymore. There we go.
All right.
Anymore.
So we have a few minutes. I think we're moving right along, right on schedule. So I am going to turn it back to you, RJ4. Isn't he doing a fantastic job? Can we all give him a round of applause? Thank you, RJ4.
Thank you. So we're back. I have the pleasure of introducing Chris Rogers, who is the program director for the Robeson House and also the co-editor of the book, How We Stay Free. So I'm going to introduce him to tell us more about How We Stay Free.
Hey everybody. So I'm also, doing my little tech side of things. I'm getting there. Let me get you out the way, Riley. Just a second. All right, there we go. And so this book, How We Stay Free, Notes on the Black Uprising, was just released in February 1st of 2022. It sort of encapsulates a project here through the Robeson House, which was funded by the Independence Public Media Foundation. In June of 2020, the Robeson House, of course, at that time, the building was closed for health and safety. And we were figuring out, given the mobilization, the historic, racial justice mobilization that was taking place here in Philadelphia, but also around the world, I was thinking, what is our responsibility in this moment? What would the Robesons be doing in this moment? And alongside my co-editor, Faja Muhammad, amazing, Philadelphia novelist, who's currently working on her own revision for her novel. What's up, Faja? We came together and said, we want to give spotlight to the people who are on the front lines of this movement, have them tell their stories, have them showcase the different organizing strategies and tactics of resistance and care and community that we know to be important for how we sustain, movements for freedom, movements for liberation. And just as Paul's music, Paul's commitment, and also essays as well. Did y'all know that Eslanda's new biography is out in paperback? It's now about $15. So I just want to give that a shout out too. Barbara Rainsby's Eslanda biography. Okay, back to this book. So How We Stay Free really encapsulates more than 40 different contributors who are telling the story of what racial justice in Philadelphia looks like, whether through reporting or poetry or photography. We have a muralist, one of our artists in residence, Niall Livingston, is also part of the book, and so much more. And I'm so proud that we have one of our contributors on with us today who is going to be able to share a quick thing. And before I invite Doogie to the stage, I also got to say it's also his birthday. So shout out! I want everybody give a shout out to Doogie, amazing DJ, poet. Someone who's been around the community doing cultural organizing for a while, and we just want to celebrate you too. Happy birthday, Doogie!
Happy birthday!
Hey, let me get you unmuted so you can have something to share with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm just grateful. Yeah. Did you you want me to read right away, or what you want me to do?
Oh, you can add like just a little intro to let people know who you
are. I think the first time I heard of Paul Robeson, I was at Rutgers University in Camden. I was working on a paper about the organizing in the 70s and the work folks were doing on campus in the 70s, and one of their on their list of demands, they wanted the library at Camden campus to be renamed the Paul Robeson Library. And I think during that research, I learned that we had the same birthday. So I was like, oh wow, that's a real cool connection. So when Chris reached out to me and asked me to read, I was like, sure. And I have a gig in a little bit, so I had to email early this week and be like, can y'all put me early in the schedule? Because like Paul, I do more than just one thing, and I'm sure he will understand. And I can't think of a better way to honor his legacy than to share my work with y'all today. That's all I got. I guess I'll go to the book, and if it's all right, I'll just read Tincture. I'm a little out of practice because mostly I DJ these days, so bear with me through any rough spots. But I used to do this all the time. 1. The healing hurts. Old wounds ignored. Old bones broken, compound and sticky, slick with the stuff of life. Never set, never rested, never given time or a moment to process. This barrage, this torrent, this torment of working through pain, heavy lifting across the atlas, this searching for sane slivers among expansive insanity. We unfortunate contortionists forced to fit beyond the margins of invisible lines in between the narrow confines of white imagination. Tragic this paradigm that passes for humanity and asks for my worth, this land of my birth where my search for understanding be demanding my compassion, my patience, my tolerance, but never my rage. I'm supposed to keep that locked in a fragile cage of endurance. Endure this, poverty, oppression, stigma, infection, hatred, rejection, apathy, misdirection, shallow kindness, empty gestures, broken promises, hollow lectures. Bear witness, blind listless, finding isthmus. 2. A thin line, a fine thread of community woven together by text messages, marathon phone calls, and genuine Zoom interactions. As we develop novel ways of sharing our truth while maintaining our distance, the implicit resistance found in reflecting our shared divinity. This symmetry of holding space and forming bonds shields us in a world that vilifies us upon arrival. We are focused on survival, so I may be distracted, waiting, watching these fascists tightening the grip on their batons, better to bash the skulls of litany beyond number. We lose track of the tears we've wept for Brianna, Sandra, Tanisha, George, Ahmad, Amadou. Waking up every morning wondering what I'ma do. For Rodney, Martin, Malcolm, Emmett, Fred, if they don't beat us, we just turn up dead. And white America is shocked again. And again we say never again until the fire next time is sparked and the dream deferred explodes as the stamina of oppressed folks becomes fatally overdrawn. Pandemic, anthemic outcries of disparity. We don't need any more heroes, martyrs, or sacrificial lambs. We do need our fellow Americans to see with open eyes, listen without interrupting, get over yourselves, and tell your people to stop killing us. While we carry the ghosts of our trauma within us, the police continuously bruise flesh, break bones, crush windpipes, and dispose of bodies, forgotten, worth less, in spite of the hard facts that the wealth of this nation was built on our scarred backs and the extermination of indigenous people. 3, the audacity of white Americans is without peer. Thievery, given pretty policy names, manifest destiny, eminent domain. You have been complicit in our suffering for quite some time. Every time we made excuses or looked the other way, as another black body gets carted DOA, and the report says, suspect resisted arrest, and the politicians say, hey, they're doing their best. We don't believe you. We need more people. Excuse me, we don't believe you. You need more people. You need more proof to show me that we're equal. Posting is cool and protesting is great, but we're going to need you to keep that same energy when it's time to hire, to legislate, approve loans, approve budgets, educate, nominate Supreme Court justices. Black minds believe oppressed people when we speak of atrocities you can't imagine. Black minds splinter into shrapnel and shards. Black spines shatter into pebbles and rubble. Black lives matter. Why does this concept cause you so much trouble? We've been doing this work. Pick up an effing shovel. Peace. Yeah, man. Hope you like that. I know it's a little long, but there was a lot going on that month of June a couple years ago. And this was basically like, you know what I mean, me trying to like process my feelings in real time while, you know, I had to be home with my kid, you know, making dinner and putting her to bed. You know what I mean? I'm a suburban dad. I wasn't my place to be out there on the front lines. But, you know, I was definitely, you know, with him in spirit. And I did what I could do.
And you did a dang on good job at it, brother. So thank you so much. So we're going to pass it back to Joe Patterson, and then we'll hear from Key Arts and some more Key Art stuff, and then theater next.
Okay. Yeah, so Paul Robeson, of course, was one of the great performers and artists during the Harlem Renaissance. He's considered a Renaissance man, and that's for sure. And during the Renaissance period, we do a show with Key Arts Productions called the Harlem Grooves. It's a multimedia live performance where we use film clips from the Harlem Renaissance, Black Arts Movement. And as you know, Zora Neale Hurston and the great writers Langston Hughes contributed to that era. And then you have Paul, who graced the stages and screen, and Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, and many other jazz artists use their creativity to bring life to the American spirit and the African American spirit during that time. So Janice asked me to include one of the songs from the great that era, and we thought we'd do something light, song by Cab Calloway. We shot this right in the Harlem, the Renaissance room there at the Paul Robeson House and Museum, and we hope you enjoy this rendition of Minnie the Moocher. We want you to sing along with us on this song. Thank you.
Here's the story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a red-hot hoochie coocher. She was the toughest, roughest friend, but Minnie had a heart as big as a whale. Hidey, hidey.
Yes, and I wanted to mention Josephine Baker, of course, the great Josephine Baker. We hope you were singing along with us on that Heidi. I hope we heard your Heidi Heidi hoes and Heidi Heidi highs, and you enjoyed that. Thank you.
That was amazing. The Ear and the X, Carlo, you got it.
Hello, happy birthday to Uncle Paul. Happy birthday to Doogie, who was the first DJ to ever rock in the first show with Theater in the X. It's good to have you here, dude. You my dude. And shout out to all my other company members here and to the Paul Robeson house for all the work that they do. I grew up around the corner from that house, and I did not know that Paul Robeson lived there. I didn't know who Paul Robeson was. And that is one of the sins of his existence, right? That they can erase. It goes to show you a bit about the conspiracy they have to like trap us out of greatness. Because how much of a head start would we have had in so much of the greatness if we'd have knew about this man who was the forefather to Martin Luther King, to so many luminaries. So I'm honored to be a part of this. And all of the company members we've been reading from Paul Robeson Speaks. So you can check this out, get this on Amazon, I'm sure, have.com, whatever, find some used versions or just borrow it from the library. But this is where you hear the man speak at length and it gets real. The excerpt I'm taking from is Some Reflections on Othello and the Nature of Our Time. And this is from the American Scholar in autumn of 1945. So now, interestingly enough, we stand at the end of one period in human history and before the entrance of a new. All our tenets and tried beliefs are challenged. We have been engaged in a global war, a war in which the capacity of our productive processes and techniques have clearly presaged the realization of new productive relationships of our society, new conceptions and assumptions of political power, with all sections of the people claiming a place in the social order. And what a vista lies before us. This can be the final war. It is possible to solve once and for all the problem of human poverty, to attain a speedy freedom and equality for all people. In shaping our new world and amid its consequent clashes and sharp struggles, where should we stand? What should be our domestic direction? What should be our policy towards England of Churchill, or of British labor towards France, Italy, Greece, Yugoslavia, China, Africa, the Near East, Spain, Latin America, especially the Argentine, and most importantly, toward the Soviet Union? I'll be completing this a bit later.
Awesome. So it looks like we've got a video from Oziyama Agudwani.
Paul Robeson, who was this man? I know he was a student athlete whose talent was not only tearing up the football field, but who also tore up that stage when he came up to read his graduation speech. I know he was a singer whose voice was so captivating that any time he opened his mouth in front of a crowd, that particular crowd was wild. But besides that, who was he? I believe he was an actor whose large figure and bold presence was a sight for sore eyes and a pleasant surprise that deserves to be recognized. Oh, was he the man who fought ongoing racism and discrimination in our nation, who had patience and made statements in front of our state men? Was that him? The man who sang for Spanish laborers who were on the verge of losing hope, but as soon as they heard his voice, they were able to cope. A man whose passport got revoked, all because he refused to admit what others wanted to promote. A man who believed that the artist must elect to fight for freedom or slavery. Don't you see? From 1898 to 1976, even through all of this man still did it, left his mark for the world to see and appreciate his Robeson legacy. He broke barriers in the art world. Every credit given to him, he earned. He became a role model for all of our young brothers, showing them that if they believe in themselves, they could perform wonders. I learned so much about one man who had the world in the palms of his hands. But one question I continued to question was, who was this man? He was a father. He was a healer. He was a performer. He was a speaker. He was a leader. Above all, he was Paul Robeson.
I love that. So we are, and I know you've been enjoying this, but we're heading into the final portion of our program. I want to remind you to donate. I want to remind you that we also are, our proceeds will also go benefit the Paul Robeson Chess Club as well. And we have tours happening at the Paul Robeson Museum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by appointment from Thursday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So please feel free to visit the website, that's paulrobesonhouse.org, to sign up. Next up on the program, we are going to hear from Jamaldeen Tacuma, who is known internationally as the world's most versatile bassist. And so with that, Jamaldeen Tacuma.
Quick note that Jamaldeen is not available right now. I see our brother Osayande Baruti on though. I'm wondering if you feel comfortable sort of stepping in for a moment. How you doing today?
Oh, how's it going, everyone? Going very good. Beautiful day. I'm glad I'm here.
So we're about to show a clip of There He Stood from the performance, and I wondered if you had a quick second to just give us like a quick note about what it meant for you to perform at the Robeson House.
Well, first of all, the Robeson House has been very special to me since 1976 when Paul died. Matter of fact, I found out about his death before he was very ill, the day before he died. And then I went on to the radio station. They asked me to do his voice. And I did about 30 minutes of something I wrote about Paul Robeson. And people were calling because they thought he was still alive. And I was very, very happy and pleased I got a chance to do that. Years later, I then met a brother named Jamaldeen Tacuma. And we ended up doing Paul Robeson's, one of his recordings at Carnegie Hall, exactly where he stood and where he performed in 1958, I believe. So that was a true honor. And I guess if you live this long and you can do things like that in the name of Paul Robeson, life is very, very good. So I just keep being empowered by Mr. Robeson and all that he stood for. And then Janice asked, I guess, Jamaldeen to put something together. And he came up with an incredible, I guess it's called a rejoicing of the works and the recordings of Paul Robeson. And he entitled it, There He Stood. He had a recording earlier called Renaissance Man that, of course, was all about and dedicated this record to Paul Robeson. So he extended that with There He Stood, and he asked me to be the voice. And I was honored. And Janice, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
This is a piece entitled, There He Stood, written by Jamaldeen Tacuma. A teacher for justice, a victim's injustice, an athlete of renown, a tower they knocked down. As we said, there he stood, there he stood. A singer whose voice soothed, easing the pain of suffering. A humanitarian problem? Throughout his life, he always wanted to help everyone in need. There he stood, an actor of international acclaim. Yet, America still treated him the same as any of us. And he was our best. There he stood. A black man articulate before his time, exercising freedom of speech. But he still got blacklisted by that paranoia, that 1950s hysteria. Many people died and killed themselves, but not Paul. Paul said, there he stood tall. They called him a communist and locked the gates. They robbed him of his livelihood, but he wasn't scared. Nope. He kept going. There he stood. This was the way of life for Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson. There he stood. A family man who was respected. There he stood. An innocent yet accused, but proud to be alive and black. There he stood. 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 And here we stood joyously, reveling in his life this tribute. Paul Robeson, our Renaissance man of the 21st century.
Yeah, that's right.
He's still here. He's still here.
Right.
Paul Robeson stood up for all of our rights. And for that, can we all not stand up for Paul? Look on the wall. Look on the wall. Look on the wall.
You're muted.
Thank you, everyone. That was fun.
Great job.
I had never seen it before. So that was very nice. Thank you, Janice and Paul Robeson Foundation. Thank you.
Awesome.
At the floor, Carlo.
A tremendous responsibility to understand these problems rests upon every American. Certainly, our influence must be upon the side of progress, not reaction. Upon the side of freedom-loving peoples and the forces of true liberation everywhere. Peoples and forces expressing their wills in various democratic forms, liberal, cooperative, and socialist. An added responsibility rests upon the liberal intellectual, the scientist, the member of the professions, the scholar, the artist. They have an unparalleled opportunity to lead and to serve, but to fulfill our deep obligation to society, we must have faith in the whole people, in their potential and realized abilities. This faith in our new world of today must include the complete acceptance of the assumption of positions of great power by true representatives of the whole people. The emergence into full bloom of the last estate, the vision of no high and no low, no superior and no inferior, but equals, assigned to different tasks in the building of a new and richer human society. Thank you, Uncle Paul. Oh, donate money.
Absolutely. So the next video we've got is of Old Man River from Key Arts.
There's an old man called the Mississippi. That's the old man that I'd like to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man river, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, and them plants are soon forgotten. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain, body aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that bale. You get a little drunk and you land in jail. I get so weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of living and scared of dying, but Old Man River, he just keeps rolling
Wow.
Great. And so now I will hand the reins to Miss Renoka to give some happy birthdays to Uncle Paul from around the world.
Thank you. I'm sure that Uncle Paul would say thank you to each and every one of you. And also, I know that you will be able to tell your friends about today's program and tell them to look forward to the 125th birthday celebration next year. We're also proud of what Janice has been able to do during her tenure. And I want everybody to come out and support her just as you supported me. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Uncle Paul.
Great. And our last performance of the afternoon is Shenandoah, again from Key Arts, performed by Nathan Hart.
Shenandoah, I long to see you. Way, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you. Way, I'm bound away, cross the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I love your daughter. Way, you rolling river. For her I cross your roaming waters. Away, I'm bound away, cross the wide Missouri. Tis 7 long years since last I've seen you, and here your roaming river. 'Tis 7 long years since last I've seen you. Away, we're bound away, cross the wide Missouri.
Well, folks, it has been my absolute pleasure to MC for you this afternoon. If you stop by the Robeson House, I'm sure at some point you will see me and see Janice and the crew of volunteer supporters, board members, and now supporters, including yourselves, at some point. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to MC this afternoon. I'm going to hand the reins back to our executive director, Janice Sykes-Ross, and you guys have a good rest of your Paul Robeson Day.
Thank you.
Wow. I am so full. I am so emotional. I'm a psych, so we're not afraid to say that we get emotional. I want to just give a round of applause to Riley, who we call RJ4. He did an awesome job this afternoon. So again, Riley, we want to thank you for not only all of your support to the Robeson House, but certainly for a great MC this afternoon. So I know you're doing a round of applause. I don't know what's going on with my video, but we're going to keep it moving. Again, I want to just highlight our entertainers, our artists, because again, that's what Robeson was all about. He was all about having our artists use their voice to bring about social justice and to bring about change. So can we do a round of applause for all of our artists? They were absolutely tremendous. That's what our fundraiser is about, so that we can, the arts are under attack, and especially African-American and the arts. So we want to keep supporting this type of programming. We want to keep supporting our artists, and raising funds today will do that for our arts in the Parlor. We also, again, want to mention to you that we're raising funds for the Paul Robeson Chess Club. And the chess club is young people playing chess, if you can imagine, and winning tournaments all over the country. So we definitely want to support that. We hear a lot on the news about young people committing crimes and all these other things, but these are young individuals that are making a difference through using their minds. We want to thank our volunteers, Sherry Howard, who is one of our staunch volunteers, always behind the scenes and always helping us, as well as our docents. These individuals are, when we have tours, they come to the house and they tell about the history. So we want to thank our docents. We want to thank our co-sponsors. Our co-sponsors today was Jamie Swit with the Black Women's Radicals, Claudia Jones School, which is Dante O'Hara, Rick Kaczynski, who is our state representative. Faja Muhammad was also here. I don't know if Faja is still with us. Farah, if you wanted to say a few words on behalf of Rick's office and your office. Okay. Senator Vincent Hughes is also one of our supporters and sends just happy birthday shout out to Uncle Paul as well. Margaret Livingston with the Walnut Hill Association. Margaret, if you're still with us, if you want to say a few words as we close out.
Thank you, Janice. This was an awesome performance today, and I know everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. And again, it's my responsibility and job to put Paul Robeson House and Museum on the map for West Philadelphia. We have a gem right here in our community, and we need to support it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Margaret. Margaret is always calling me and saying, Janice, do you need any help? And
yes,
she's always there. And members of the of her committee as well, or Nadine and others are always supporting.
Yes.
We have Michael Hamilton with Michael Hamilton Charity Fund. He is also one of our co-sponsors for today's program. Michael, if you're still on, would you like to say a few words and give a shout out? Happy birthday to Uncle Paul. Okay. Well, thank you, Michael, for your support. And then we have Ira and Sandra Harkavy. Ira is also our board chair, but he's also a co-sponsor of today's event and program. And we thank you so much, Ira. So I'm not sure if Ira's here and would like to say a few words. You saw Ira at the beginning of that video. He's also the president of the Netter Center. So what more can we say? So next year, we're going to be celebrating the 125th birthday. We will start to talk about the 125th. We're going to start to talk about it now. And so you will be hearing about it all year long, leading up to April of next year. Get ready, get ready, get ready. It's going to be amazing. And one of the things that we want to do is to declare nationally April the 9th as Paul Robeson Day. So I know you join me in trying to make that happen. So that is our campaign. We have a banner that's up at the house right now. We want you to come by the house, and we have a large birthday card. And we want to get 124 signatures on that birthday card for our historical data. So we invite all of you to come by the house and sign the birthday card and put your name on it. Again, we thank you for a wonderful afternoon. I thank you to my staff. I thank you, Chris Rogers, for all that you do, our program director, technical support, Azare Gary, Sophia Wesler. Have I forgotten anything? My team, have I forgotten anything? Chris, did I forget anything?
There's a lot of ways to donate, right? You can donate online, right? You can mail a check to the house, and details about that on paulrobesonhouse.org. And be on the lookout for more programming coming soon, because we got some stuff in the. And I see Becca Graham was on here earlier, and they are planning an amazing concert at the Robeson House for later this month for Jazz Appreciation Month. So be on the lookout for more announcements of programming and events at the Robeson House.
Thank you, Chris. This is why I have such a great staff. Thank you all. We appreciate your time. We don't want to hold you any longer. Thank you, RJ, for what an awesome job. And everybody enjoy the rest of your afternoon and enjoy Paul Robeson Day.
All right, folks, take care.